I'm Ron Joseph from Dayton Power and Light. Question about head, neck, and face protection as it relates to FR and that kind of thing. Can you kind of run down for us, where do you think, and I guess this is for Hugh, where do you think we are now and where do you think we're going from a regulatory standpoint?
You know, I don't see the regs changing quick on head and face protection from an OSHA perspective. And I think the reason for that is we have to be able to work. And so I'm a big fan of face shields. I think they really can save a lot of people getting their faces burned. But also work practices tend to help our face. You know, if you're doing hot stick stuff, you're far enough away, you're going to get a first or second degree burn in most cases at the most. And rarely are you going to get burned at all. You turn your face away. There's lots of things you can do that reduce your risk of being burned. But if you're putting in a meter, and it's a 480 meter, and it's right there in your face, your risk is low, but if you get an arc flash, you're probably going to get some face burns. So being able to put somebody in a pair of safety glasses and an arc flash face shield in that work situation is probably not that bad, not that onerous. But if I'm up in between two power lines and I've got to be able to see, you want to watch that. You know, that's Jim pointed out, putting a guy in a 40 cal hood, no, we don't want a guy in a 40 cal hood. We want to measure the energy, find out what they're looking at. But I am a fan of the face shield. I invented the face shield when I worked in an electric utility. My utility would not let me tell anybody what I'd come up with. I patented it right after I left.
I knew there was a reason why I didn't like it.
And I got none of the money from it. That's the reason my wife doesn't like me. I got none of the money from it. I did it because one of my network guys said, it's great, Hugh, that we've got 40 cal arc flash suits now, and I can just have a great body, and it's going to blow my face off. And what do you think Becky, we went to church with this guy, what do you think Becky's going to think? She was the church pianist as his wife. I said, Steve, you're ugly as all get out. You got a great body. She's just going to think you look better. And so being funny to kind of blow off something that was a big deal, I think in some situations you really do need a face shield. If you've got more than 20 cals, you absolutely need a face shield because you're going to get some scarring. If you've got less than 20 cals, the scarring chance is pretty slim, but around 5 cals is kind of the cutoff where you're going to get some second and some slight third-degree burns. The calories are not exact, unfortunately. The calculations are kind of worst case, and that's the good thing. You want to prevent clothing ignitions, and you want to protect the face if it's possible. And I'm a fan. I think long-term, 10 years from now, I think we're going to have a lot better face shield designs. I just got one from Italy last month that we tested that actually goes up inside the hard hat, folds down with a balaclava, and I mean you can flip the thing up and down easily. And I was pretty impressed with this design. It's firefighters for Italy, and it's actually come into the U.S. It's going to be available in the U.S. in about 2 or 3 months. And we did the testing on it last month. 23 cals with a face shield with just a little chin thing. And so I think there's going to be some technologies that people are going to like better, are going to be more comfortable. That Salisbury weight balancing face shield, I was totally excited when that came out because one of the big kickbacks I got from linemen was, and I helped Salisbury develop that with the other company, and the reason we got kickbacks from linemen was we can't wear this because we can't have our hard hats falling off. That's our dielectric protection on our head. And I completely agree. I said we've got to solve the problems before we force things on people. If we can't solve the problems, then back off.
I want one of them helmets that fighter jet drivers got with that little, those are cool. I don't know if they help line work any.
Hey, Jim, are a lot of companies, are they going and looking at using the face shields up in the air? This part of the country, I've heard several companies looking into it. And
well, let's talk a minute about what, and you had mentioned the regulatory issues. OSHA in the standard says that you must protect the face of your employees. So you can't get by that. But that's what part of the evaluation of the workplace is. And if you look at, I think it's C2 has established some benchmark exposures according to the type of work that you do. And of course, one of them is setting meters. And sometimes setting meters, and if you have those current rate, not current instrument meters in 480, but if you're using a directly connected in-circuit meter at 480 volts and you're installing those things, you have a potential for exposure of up to 40 cals in some cases, I think. That's a huge exposure coming out of a can right in front of your meterman right there. So definitely he should be in a face shield, and that's a very short-term operation. On the other hand, anybody who's ever done line work or watched line work be done understands that we limit and minimize our exposure by working below conductor. Right. So if we're up there working, and what are we constantly doing when we're working? We're looking down the line, both directions. What's happening down the span? That's part of what keeps us safe because we know what's going on. If you're wearing a face shield and you turn your head, what does it hit? Bumps in the way. It's moving around on top of your head. It's uncomfortable. It's an issue. I've tried to break face shields out a couple of times at a couple of places. They ran me off. So, it's a face shield. That's a big issue. And, of course, you remember we actually tried this inside of a hood, and the hood was ridiculous. What happens when you turn your head? You just look in the side of the hood. The hood doesn't turn with you. You can't see anything, not to mention that it's 142 degrees inside the hood. And in Arizona, where we come from, if you leave your dog in the car, they will arrest you and put you in jail. We'll be in Sheriff Joe's little tent thing wearing pink clothes. But you can stay once. And I had a customer wanted to stick a lineman in a Category 4 hood because we were in a 4 kV exposure, with an ungodly amount of, explosive force. So it is an issue. You have an obligation to protect your employees, but the analysis of the workplace is the real big thing, and the training of your employees. Some of you guys that are doing training, Hector, have you had experience with your customers and what they're looking for in training?
Yes, and a lot of it is the face shields. People are asking us about face shields, and I know a couple of companies in the Southeast are looking at that, and I don't think they've implemented that fully, though, but they're asking if other companies in the United States are looking into that because of the exposure level. I know if I had a face shield back 30 years ago, I'd be a lot prettier now.
I think you're pretty good.
I thought you were pretty good looking.
But I think more and more you're hearing
Not that there's
companies.
anything wrong with that.
More and more you're hearing companies asking about that here. So it's coming up.
And here's one of the issues. Right now, currently in the industry, I don't think that there's a face shield that's rated over Category 2.
Yeah.
There is now. There's probably 3 or 4. We rated one for fiber metal last week. It was 23. This other one was 20. And Salisbury has a 20. Paulson has a 20. Oberon has a 20. There's a lot of 20s out there now because of this new NESC table that basically hits the limit at about 20 cals. There's at least 5 or 6 on the market right now.
All right.